Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting, as always, for AC Press, under the auspices of the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. This week we're looking at the Royal Catholic Church. 2.5 months after the birth of the King and Queen's grandchild, Princess Leonor, the firstborn of Felipe, the heir to the Spanish throne, she has been christened with water taken, no less, from the River Jordan and brought to the Zarzuela Palace in Madrid. Christened, that is, into the Catholic Church. The ceremony was conducted by the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Madrid, Cardinal Rocco, who used a 12th century font from a monastery for the occasion. Said font is reserved for the use of royalty and was brought specially from the San Domingo de Guzman monastery out to the palace. Leonor, as we said, is the first child born to the Prince of Asturias and his wife, and she is now second in line to the throne. King Juan Carlos and Queen Sofia are her godparents. The christening, as you might anticipate, was attended by many dignitaries and representatives of the state, including the Prime Minister, the leader of the Madrid Assembly, and the Mayor of Madrid. Some very ancient Catholic traditions were kept at the christening service, such as the use of the font, as we've said, and also some Franciscan friars who look after pseudo-Christian relics in Israel sent some water from the River Jordan via the Spanish Consul General in Jerusalem. One wonders how often a diplomatic bag has contained anything quite so inoffensive as water. But perhaps the friars didn't think it was so insignificant. Well, it may have special symbolic significance for those who believe in such things, but whatever else it may have been, it certainly wasn't fresh. Several bottles were given to the Consul General back in October, before Leonor was even born. As for the christening itself, well, the princess wore the same smock as had her grandfather, the king, her father, and various aunts and cousins on the occasion of their welcome into the Roman Catholic Church. Yet not everyone was impressed with the goings-on. An editorial in Protestante Digital, which is the sister magazine of this news agency, in the Spanish news section, complained that and I quote, "the necessary Catholicism of Spanish monarchs creates a huge contradiction, not at the level of their personal faith, but in converting it into a matter of state." And herein lies the complaint, that in a nation which officially, according to its constitution, has no state church, no official confessional links, it still seems imperative that the Spanish royal family be Catholic. One thing is if that is a reflection of their own personal faith, but another that it receives the official endorsement of the state, and indeed the state expects the royal family to be Catholic. The editorial does accept, of course, that any parent has the right to bring up their children in whatever religious tradition they deem fit. But some listeners to this broadcast may remember that before the prince was actually married, his bride-to-be, a divorcee, had to go through a fairly lengthy process by which she was cleansed, as it were, of her sinful past and brought up to scratch to enter the Roman Catholic Church as a princess. But the editorial goes on to bemoan the fact that still today in Spain it's unthinkable that a monarch could be someone who does not follow, at least in theory, the Roman Catholic faith. And I quote again, "It turns the religious christening of a child too young to know what's happening into a social phenomenon of the greatest importance." And the editorial concludes by arguing that the Spanish press does not consider or mention the Protestant faith of someone such as Martin Luther King when it comes to commenting on his social action in favour of black people. Yet the Catholic faith, in inverted commas, of the Spanish royal family becomes a vital part of the monarchy. Spain may be a democracy, but above all it remains a Catholic nation. Well, is the editorial completely fair? Some might argue that Spain is still a young democracy and needs a certain amount of traditional continuity, which may include religious continuity, in the sense that the monarchy remains Catholic, at least for a while yet. There is strong Republican sentiment in Spain, yet it's almost certainly too soon to consider ditching the monarchy in favour of a presidency. and expect the democracy to survive as strongly as would be the case if traditions were maintained for a while longer yet. On the other hand, there's certainly distance needs to be put between church and state. And to use the metaphor of water again, I think many evangelicals in Spain would like to see water, rather than being sprinkled on the forehead of the heir to the throne, being put between the Roman Catholic Church and the institutions of state. Even though the democracy may be young and may yet need propping up to some degree by certain traditions, and popular support for King Juan Carlos is probably based to a large degree on that, rather than on any personal charisma of his own, and certainly not on any historical support for the monarchy as such. Yet, it's certainly time for the state to take greater steps in distancing themselves from this one particular religious tradition, the Roman Catholic Church. Meanwhile, evangelicals will continue to lament the fact that a secular press shows such enthusiasm for a royal christening, and for once leaves its hostility to religion and its fervour for all things lay, and becomes gushing about the whole business of a baby being ushered in and sprinkled in to the Catholic Church. It remains to be seen in years to come whether the Spanish democracy will become strong enough to free itself of its Roman Catholic ties and its Roman Catholic past. Well, thank you again for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting on emission.net and at the website protestantadigital.com, where you can find us each week. Thank you again for listening, and goodbye for now.
Emisión.net